You've probably heard of beaches so stunning they look unreal, yet almost no one knows they exist. In Santa Catarina, between Garopaba and Imbituba, lie hidden sanctuaries, golden dunes, crystal clear waters, and cliffs where whales leap into the sunset. These aren't ordinary beaches, they're secret paradises, untouched and full of ancient energy. Today we reveal 13 places so magical you'll wonder, how does the world not know about them yet? Santa Catarina, southern Brazil. A land where forest-covered cliffs meet the Atlantic Ocean in a dance that's been unfolding for thousands of years. In this region, hidden between the towns of Garopaba and Imbituba, lies some of the most enchanting and least-known beaches in the country. Not just beautiful, but sacred guardians of stories, silence, and rare natural balance. Here, each stretch of sand holds a secret. Some hide ancient traces of indigenous life. Others are watched over by whales that return every year to give birth just offshore. The locals know these are no ordinary landscapes. And yet, they've remained outside the spotlight, protected by geography, time, and tradition. In this video, we'll take you through 13 of these hidden places. Not in the way a tourist would see them, but as a traveler looking for meaning. From calm, glassy waters, perfect for meditation, to wild coastal trails where the wind howls like memory itself, each location invites you into a deeper experience. Something quiet, something real. Along the way, you'll learn more than names and distances. You'll feel the energy of each site. You'll understand how wind, sand, and sea come together to shape not only the land, but the stories that live on it. This is a coastline shaped by time and still whispering to those who listen. So join us as we uncover these 13 hidden coastal sanctuaries. Some are only reachable by foot, others by knowing the right tide or the right person. But all of them have one thing in common: once you step into them, you come out changed. Hidden just beyond Garopaba's historic center, Praia da Vigia is small, barely 100 meters from end to end. But don't let its size fool you. This beach, shaped like a crescent moon cradled by stone, offers something most places don't silence. The waves here are gentle, almost whispering as they reach the shore. Protected by cliffs and framed by lush vegetation, Vigia feels like a natural amphitheater where time slows down. You won't find beach umbrellas or crowds, just one seasonal kiosk open from morning to dusk, serving fresh juices and simple local snacks. But the true flavor of this place is solitude. Locals come here to breathe, to pause. Couples find quiet corners between the rocks. Children build castles in the shade of native trees, and the sea, clear, calm, inviting, becomes a mirror, not just of the sky, but of the self. On windless days, it's perfect for swimming or floating without a destination. On cooler afternoons, it invites stillness, reflection. There's a trail that leads up one of the cliffs. From the top, the view stretches wide across the coastline, giving you a glimpse of what Garopaba used to be: raw, untouched, slow. And that's what Praia da Vigia offers most of all: a memory of simplicity, a place where nothing happens quickly and everything matters just a little more. If you blink, you might miss it, but if you stop, really stop, you might find more than just a beach. You might find a pause you didn't know you needed. Stretching over 4 kilometers of untouched coast, Praia do Siriu is a place where nature still breathes in its original rhythm. It begins with dunes, vast, golden, and sculpted by the wind. They rise and fall like waves frozen in time. As you walk through them, barefoot and unhurried, The sound of your steps is the only reminder of the world you left behind. To the north, a modest cluster of houses marks the only hint of civilization. A few local restaurants and inns blend into the landscape. The beach itself remains mostly empty, even in high season. The further you walk, the more alone you become. And in that solitude, something shifts. You begin to hear what's usually drowned out: the rustling of sand, the pulse of the wind, the distant cry of seabirds. Siriu is also home to the Makaku Lagoon, where fresh water meets the dunes. The contrast of elements, water, sand, forest, sky, creates a natural amphitheater of contrasts. The lagoon is shallow, warm, and perfect for floating or watching dragonflies dance across the surface. At certain times of the year, it mirrors the sky so perfectly that it's hard to tell where the earth ends. There are trails that lead up into the hills, revealing panoramic views of the coastline. And in winter months, those who climb them early enough may witness whales breaching on the horizon. It's not rare, it's just quiet. That's what defines Siriu. A place where the extraordinary doesn't arrive with noise, but with patience. For travelers seeking space, stillness, and a deeper kind of beauty, Praia do Siriu is more than a destination. It's a retreat, a gentle reminder that nature doesn't need to be loud to be unforgettable. Tucked between rolling hills and the quiet rhythm of a fishing village, Praia de Gamboa is one of those places that seems to move at a slower pace. The road here is narrow, winding, and lined with native forest, almost as if nature itself is deciding who gets to arrive. And when you do, the landscape opens wide, a long stretch of sand, kissed by gentle waves, with canoes resting in the distance. This beach isn't about spectacle, it's about soul. The brackish waters where the estuary meets the sea are calm, shallow, and perfect for stand-up paddling or a peaceful kayak ride. Locals know the tides by heart. They launch quietly, without fanfare, disappearing into the horizon as seabirds circle above. It's not a place for rush, it's a place for rhythm. Up on the cliffs, a natural viewpoint watches over it all. From June to November, if you're lucky and patient, you may spot the majestic southern right whale gliding near the surface. They come back year after year, just like the people who fall in love with this place. And it's easy to see why. There's something about Gamboa that makes you feel like you've been here before, or that you were always meant to come. The beach stretches south toward a rocky headland where old stories linger. Some say ancient gatherings happened here. Others simply sit, watch, and listen to the wind. Whatever you choose to believe, the feeling is undeniable. Gamboa isn't just visited, it's experienced. If you crave peace without isolation, authenticity without artifice, Gamboa offers a perfect balance. It's where the ocean doesn't roar but speaks. And if you're listening closely, you might just understand what it's saying. 9 kilometers south of Garopaba, tucked between a lagoon and the sea, lies Praia da Barra. To get there, you cross a narrow stretch of land where time feels suspended. One side holds the calm waters of a lagoon, the other, the open breath of the Atlantic. Barra isn't flashy. There are no big hotels or bustling kiosks. It's a refuge where the sound of the wind replaces the noise of the city. The beach is long and flat, with soft sand and wide skies. Families come here for the gentle waters. The older generations fish quietly from the lagoon's edge. The younger ones build castles on the shoreline. To the north, the Morro do Indio rises above the landscape, hiding secrets from the past. Archaeological remains, sambaquis, and ancient stone tools tell of a time when this land was sacred ground. The stones aren't fenced off or displayed. They remain where they were found, as if waiting for someone who still remembers how to listen. A trail leads south, cutting through the native brush toward the more hidden Praia do Ouvidor. But most who arrive at Barra don't feel the need to move on. The energy here is grounding. The balance between salt and fresh water, forest and sand, creates something rare. Stillness with presence. If you're looking for a beach that holds space rather than demands attention, Barra invites you to stay a while, to breathe a little slower, and maybe just maybe hear the land speak. Tucked between the more frequented Ferrijum and the hidden charm of Barra, Praia do Ouvidor remains a quiet mystery. It's not easy to find unless you know where to look. The dirt road that leads there feels like a test, narrow, bumpy, lined with tall trees. But once you arrive, the world opens up to something completely different. Ouvidor is framed by nature. Native pines line the sand, casting long, cool shadows across the beach. The sea is powerful, but rarely aggressive. Its waves arrive steady, sculpting the shoreline with quiet force. On one end, a shallow river runs into the ocean, forming a natural play space for children. On the other, ancient rock formations hold traces of pre-colonial life. Tools, fragments, silent stories left in stone. There's no formal infrastructure, no bars or shops lining the edge. Instead, you'll find parked cars under the trees and families gathered under the open sky. It's this lack of excess that makes Ouvidor feel more real, more grounded. You don't come here to be entertained, you come here to reconnect. As the sun begins to lower, a golden calm spreads across the landscape. The light filters through the pine branches. The breeze cools. You feel it in your skin, in your breath. There are few places left like this. Few beaches where nature speaks louder than anything man-made. Ouvidor doesn't demand attention, it rewards presence. And for those willing to arrive slowly, to stay without expectation, it becomes more than a beach. It becomes a place that stays with you long after you've left. Among all the beaches in Garopaba, Ferrijum is the most vibrant, a meeting point of opposites, waves and calm, solitude and celebration. Here, the Atlantic arrives with force on one end of the bay, while the other rests peacefully beside a tranquil lagoon. The beach curves wide like an open embrace. During the day, surfers gather at the northern end, where the waves are fast and clean. The sound of boards cutting through water blends with cheers from the sand. Further down, families spread out on the flat southern stretch, children floating in the lagoon, laughter carried by the breeze. Despite its popularity, Ferrijum has held on to its soul. The dunes are preserved, covered in native vegetation. Simple walkways guide you across them without disturbing the landscape. At sunset, a golden glow settles over the sand, and the Morro do Indio in the distance becomes a silhouette against the sky. As night falls, the energy changes. The village behind the beach lights up. Small bars and restaurants come alive with music and soft conversation, but even here, there's no rush, no noise that overwhelms, just the gentle rhythm of a beach that knows how to welcome both stillness and movement. Ferrijum is a beach of balance. It teaches that nature doesn't have to be wild to be powerful, and that beauty can be both loud and quiet. For many, it's a beach that becomes a memory. For others, it's a place they return to again and again. Where fresh water meets the sea, Praia de Ribanceira creates a landscape of contrasts and harmony. This is not just a beach, but a meeting point of elements, lagoon and ocean, wind and stillness, movement and calm. A rare balance that turns nature into both a playground and a sanctuary. The white sand stretches wide between the blue of the sea and the soft current of the lagoon. On windy days, colourful kites dance across the sky, pulled by windsurfers and kitesurfers who come from all over Brazil to ride the perfect breeze. The water here is clear, warm and welcoming, perfect for families, ideal for solitude. Ibiraceira isn't about loud discovery, it's about quiet connection. Small paths lead from the dunes to the lagoon's edge. Locals know them by instinct. Children chase fish in the shallows. Elders gather at dusk to watch the light fade across the mirrored surface. The beach itself flows gently with the mood of the day. To the south, dunes open into trails where wind shapes the sand like brushstrokes. From higher points, you can see both the lagoon and the ocean, two worlds side by side, neither overpowering the other. At sunset, the air cools, the colors shift, and the landscape becomes silent. Not empty, just complete. Ibiraceira isn't the kind of place you rush through. It's the kind of place you stay with. It invites you to listen, to float, and to remember that peace often lives where the elements meet. Praia do Rosa isn't just a beach, it's a pulse. A bay shaped like a perfect crescent, embraced by hills and preserved forest. It draws people from around the world, not just for its waves, but for its energy. Something ancient seems to live here, humming just beneath the surface. The beach is split naturally into two moods. In the south, the infrastructure is stronger, hotels, cafes, small markets, but still in harmony with the landscape. Surfers ride long waves, music drifts from open windows, and life feels vibrant. In the north, quiet settles, trails pass through native vegetation, leading to lookout points and moments of deep silence. Here, the ocean whispers instead of roars. At the center of the bay, the two worlds meet. It's where people gather at sunset, where strangers share the same horizon, where yoga is practiced in the sand, where barefoot dancers move to rhythms that seem to come from the wind itself. The Rosa isn't a backdrop, it's a character. One that invites you to slow down, feel more, and let go. The hills that surround it are filled with paths, viewpoints, and secrets. From above, you can see the full curve of the bay, one of the most iconic views in Brazil. Whales pass by offshore from July to November. Locals speak softly about them, almost as if they're old friends returning home. Praia do Rosa doesn't demand your attention. It opens itself to those who approach with presence. And for those who do, it offers something hard to name but impossible to forget. Just south of Ibiraceira, the landscape begins to shift. The hills rise gently, the sand turns finer, and soon you arrive at Praia da Ribanceira, wide, open, and wild. There's a sense of space here that feels different. It's not just the size, it's the silence that stretches with the horizon. Ribanceira is known for its towering white dunes. They rise like waves frozen in motion, catching the light as the day moves across the sky. Adventurers climb them for sport. Sandboarding is a favorite here, but even stillness offers a thrill. From the highest points, the view is expansive sea, hills, and sometimes whales breaching far offshore during the winter months. Unlike other beaches nearby, Ribanceira has very little infrastructure. That's part of its charm. A few paths cut through the brush, leading to quiet stretches of sand where the wind speaks louder than words. On certain days, you can walk for kilometers and see no one. It's this emptiness that draws people in, not as a void, but as a space to breathe, the sound of the wind moving across the dunes, the sharp blue of the sky above white hills, the sea, always present, always pulling the gaze outward. Ribanceira offers solitude, but never disconnect. For those who seek perspective, both literal and personal, this beach offers a rare vantage point, one where nature speaks in broad strokes, and the details come into focus only when you stand still long enough to see them. Itapirapuba is a beach of two faces. Divided by a rocky hill that juts into the sea, it creates two distinct experiences, one wild, the other gentle. But both sides share something in common, a feeling that time stretches differently here. The name Itapirapuba comes from the Tupi language, meaning stones that roll into the water. And true to its name, the landscape speaks. The rocks are smooth and round, worn by centuries of tide and salt. Fishermen launch their boats from one side. Children climb the stones at low tide, chasing crabs and watching the waves dance around them. The northern beach is more exposed. The waves are stronger, the wind more insistent. It's a place for walking, for feeling the pulse of the sea. The southern side, protected by the hill, is calmer, its waters clear and inviting, ideal for families and long swims. Between them, the hill offers a natural viewpoint, and from the top, you can see both realities at once, wildness and serenity, divided only by stone. The village nearby is quiet, local and authentic. There are no luxury hotels, no big signs, only homes that have stood for generations, and people who greet you with a nod. Itapirapuba is not about what happens here, it's about what doesn't. It's about listening to the sea, feeling the wind, and remembering that the earth, too, has moods. For those who find beauty in contrasts, Itapirapuba is a revelation, a place where two shores tell one story about balance, simplicity, and the rhythm of nature itself. There's a softness to Praia de Luz, a quiet glow that seems to settle over everything. It's not the kind of beach you stumble upon, it's the kind you're guided to, either by a trail from Rosa Sul or across the dunes from Ibirapuera. And once you arrive, the world feels different. Lighter, slower. The sand here is wide and golden. The sea, when calm, reflects the sky like glass. And in the late afternoon, everything turns gold. Sunlight spreading across the water, shadows stretching long behind the dunes. Locals often gather here to practice yoga, play acoustic music, or simply sit in silence, letting the breeze move through them. There are no buildings lining the shore, no loud kiosks, just open space and wind. It's this simplicity that makes Luz so luminous. The beach feels sacred, not because of any monument, but because of the peace it offers without effort. You don't go to Luz to see, you go to feel. Above the beach, trails lead to quiet viewpoints. From there, you can watch the meeting of lagoon and ocean, or track the path of the sun as it sinks behind the hills. And when the sky finally fades into night, there's a moment brief, but undeniable, when the whole landscape feels like it's holding its breath. Praia de Luz isn't about what you do, it's about how you are. A beach where stillness becomes beauty, and where, even in silence, you remember you're connected to something greater. Now that you've seen them, which beach spoke to you the most? Was it the solitude of Ribanceira, the vibrant pulse of Ferrugem, the golden silence of Praia de Luz? Maybe you recognize something in them, a place you've been, or a feeling you've long been seeking. These 13 beaches aren't just points on a map. They're experiences waiting to happen, journeys waiting to be walked. And now that you know where to look, the only question is, when will you go? If this journey inspired you, if something in the wind, in the light, in the rhythm of the coast stayed with you, then there's more to discover. We'll continue exploring hidden places, sacred nature, and stories that live beyond the surface. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next destination. And tell us in the comments which of these places would you visit first, or which one already lives in your memory. Your voice adds to this journey. Your presence makes it complete. We're building a community of travelers who see with their hearts and walk with wonder. Join us and let the earth keep surprising you.